Hi, everyone. I'm Felicity Brennan with algaeplanet.com. And today on our Women of Algae series, my guest is Shinnecock Tribal member Tela Troge, who is not only an attorney for the tribe, she's also a member of the newly formed Shinnecock Kelp Farmers Co-op on Shinnecock territory, New York. Thank you so much for being with us today, Tela.
Thank you for having me.
As we get going, I was wondering if you would give us an overview of the Shinnecock Kelp Farming project so everyone knows what we're talking about.
Sure. So the Shinnecock Kelp Farmers are a collective of 6 Indigenous women. We span the generations from young to elders, and we are attempting to increase some of our cultural knowledge in order to clean up the water around our territory. We're facing all kinds of issues with climate destruction, rising sea levels, but also we're experiencing an over nutrient load in our water that's having a really bad effect on the marine life surrounding us. And so traditionally, Shinnecock people have harvested seaweed from the waters that surround us, specifically the Shinnecock Bay and the Peconic Bay, for a multitude of purposes, for medicine, to use in clam bakes, as well as for insulation. And so the goal of the Shinnecock Kelp Farmers is to grow and cultivate sugar kelp, which will then use to turn into a more natural fertilizer to give some of our neighbors who are very wealthy individuals. We are centered in Southampton, New York, with many millionaires and billionaires whose lawns are increasing the amount of nitrogen in the water through the fertilizers that they're using. And so we're hoping to turn our sugar kelp into a more natural, more environmentally friendly fertilizer that will reduce the amount of nutrient overload in the water surrounding us.
And how did this project come about originally? How did you come up with this solution?
Well, we were following the work of Bren Smith from Greenwave, who is doing incredible things. And we went to visit his farm up in Thimble Islands, and we saw that his methodology was something that we could recreate here at home. And, we just started talking to each other and decided this is something that we wanted to do. It's in line with our cultural practices. As an attorney for my nation, I did a lot of work, research to look at different cases, and I found that a lot of our case law, a lot of our earliest case law, stems from something called the seaweed cases. And so a lot of what we used to establish our relationship with the federal government in order to become federally recognized was this line of cases which described our traditional uses of seaweed. And so seaweed has always just been really important to us. And so it just felt right to participate in this method of cleaning up the water.
So there are 6 of you that initiated the project, and you were saying it's in congruence with some of your traditional ways. Is the fact that it's all women significant to being the initiators?
Most definitely. So we consider ourselves to be more than seaweed farmers. We consider ourselves to be water protectors.
Mm.
And we know that water is life. Water is what has sustained us. So we consider it our sacred duty as women to do whatever we can to protect and cleanse the water that sustains our people.
Now you've established yourself as a co-op. How how does that model work, and what other groups do you see being involved in that co-op model?
So it was really important for us to form as a co-op. We believe that all of the work done should be shared by all of the workers. We kind of, again, we're surrounded by millionaires and billionaires, and we see the destructive forces of capitalism. And so by forming a co-op, we are hoping to show folks that there's a better way, that we can work cooperatively together, and that we could share in the profits of all of our labor. So when we eventually when we go to market and sell this fertilizer, all of us will share equally in the bounty of what we sell and what we grow. But what we're really trying to do is show people that we can work in these types of green jobs and that we can make living wages doing something that sustains our culture and that also protects the water around us. And so that's really why we really focused on forming as a workers co-op.
The benefits of what can happen when partnerships and people work together to create a vision for everyone.
Exactly. And as Indigenous people, we've experienced the theft of our land, our resources, and we just really want to be able to provide these types of living wage jobs that gets people connected back to our traditional culture and provides a way that you can meaningfully support your family at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did mention earlier Green Wave, which for those of you who don't know out there, it's an organization based in Connecticut. And they believe so strongly in the power of regenerative coastal farming that in their 10-year goal, they state they want to provide training, support, and tools to 10,000 regenerative ocean farmers. You all are one of the lucky ones to be working with them. What do they exactly bring to the project?
So they have provided just amazing and wonderful technical advice. Recently, just within the past 2 months, they've helped us put together our hatchery, which is the first Indigenous owned hatchery on the East Coast of the United States. So it's very exciting. And we've been working closely with their hatchery engineer just to get everything exactly right, to get our tanks up, to get the LED grow lights up. Even they've provided expertise in actually finding the kelp because we have to actually forage and do dives for to the wild kelp forests. And so we've also been working really closely with Stony Brook University, who kind of have a little bit of a head start just because we are located in New York and kelp farming is actually technically illegal here. So the only people doing it right now are research universities, but we're located right next to the Southampton campus of Stony Brook University, and so we're working in partnership with them. They've been working with Green Wave for a number of years, and our hatchery technicians are doing a lot of training in their laboratory to get ready to spool our kelp seedlings for our first grow season. We put out some test lines last year using kelp grown at Green Waves Laboratories, but this is the first time we're going to cultivate seedlings at our own hatchery. So it's really exciting.
That is so exciting, and congratulations for being the first. That's just a remarkable milestone and gives me hope for the future. I want to just follow up on something you said. You said kelp farming is actually illegal in New York. Is that true for the entire coastline, or is that just New York? And what are you doing about that?
So we have been really promoting what's known as the Kelp Bill. It's now passed through the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly. It's just awaiting the governor's signature. We recently had a change in governor, so that might have delayed things a little bit, but we need to do this at such a wide scale level. It can't just be one group. It can't just be us 6 women. We need to expand our network to as many people who are engaged in aquaculture. Traditionally in the areas around us, we've been able to support fishermen, fisherwomen, and those who grow shellfish. And so we're hoping that we can provide seeds to other people to really get as many lines of kelp out there, because the nitrogen overload is such a bad problem. It's actually killed 99% of the marine life around us. The Biden administration just declared a federal disaster in the Peconic Bay, which is a body of water that surrounds our territory, because 99% of the bay scallops have died. And so it's really going to take this wide scale network of ocean farmers, regenerative ocean farmers, to make a difference, a real difference, and provide a meaningful mitigation strategy to this nutrient overload. And that has to also be coupled with upgrading septic systems. So it's kind of a two-part problem. It's a lack of sewage treatment and fertilizer, chemical fertilizer running off into the water that's just creating this mass die-off. And so as Indigenous people, we are able to engage in our kelp farming because we have reserved rights to this. As I was speaking about earlier, our case law goes back all the way to the 1600s, where we reserved our right to cultivate and collect and gather seaweed. So we're not held back by the restraints that other folks are, but we are really working very closely with them to show the benefits, to show, hey, this is how much CO2 we can extract from the water. This is how much nitrogen we can pull from the water. If we work together, we can really meaningfully address this and start to change course here.
Speaking of vision, what would you like to see at the end of, say, 5 years?
So we want to see the return of the marine life around us. We have survived here on Long Island for 13,000 years. We benefit from the bounty of the sea. We have been fisher people, we've been whalers, and we really depend on the marine life around us for food. So we're hoping that not only can we clean up the water, but also that our lines of kelp can recreate the marine habitat necessary for marine life to flourish and to come back and provide a food source that can sustain our tribal population. And again, we also want to provide as many green jobs as possible to sustain as many of our tribal people and get them engaged in meaningful work that they love.
Do you have any programs that you're working with kids with to help them get interested at an early age? Is there anything like that going on?
Definitely. We have a really exciting pilot program that we've started with our hatchery, and we invite the children in to speak positively to our kelp seedlings, to encourage their growth and just get them involved, get them in the hatchery, see how we operate, and get them excited about what's going on. So that's been really exciting.
Now, I also understand that you have a partnership with the Sisters of St. Joseph, and I'm wondering how that came about.
So the Sisters of St. Joseph have been amazing allies to the Shinnecock Nation. They're based in Brentwood, New York, but they also have a facility in Hampton Bays, which is the site of our hatchery. They have been so generous and just loving in every single way. And so we've been working with them for really a long time now, but just within the past couple of years, we really formed a really, I would even say, sacred relationship with them. They invited us to their campus, and they were so excited to share with us their land ethic policy. And we share the same values in our forward stewardship of the land and protecting the natural environment, that it's really just been an incredible partnership. And we hope to see our relationship grow in the future.
What do you think at this stage, what do you consider your greatest obstacles?
So we have a number of hurdles. We don't know how well Our seeds are going to grow, so we are having to find the best location. We also do have some slight conflicts with New York State DEC that are a little bit challenging, just getting them to respect our Indigenous rights to engage in the cultivation and collection of seaweed, which again go back hundreds and hundreds of years before the DEC was even an entity. So that's been an interesting challenge to navigate, just the red tape. But otherwise, we have so much community support. We have a long waiting line of customers ready to purchase our product. And we're growing our fan base. We have Instagram and a Facebook where people can follow our progress. And so overwhelming support, really, and not too many challenges, luckily.
And just to wrap up, Tela, what else would you like our viewers to know about your incredibly important effort?
I would just like everyone to help cheer us along, follow our progress, and let other people know that this is a solution to the climate crisis that we're facing. And if we all work together, we can adapt and we can survive this rising sea levels and all kinds of catastrophic, we don't have to live our lives in fear. We can get out there, take action, and begin to mitigate this problem if we work collectively for all of our benefits.
Well said. Yes, it's just so wonderful. And thank you for what you're doing. It's incredibly important. And I want to see that dream come true. Thank you for being with us today. And we, again, wish you the very best and look forward to checking back with you to see how it's going in a few years. And thank you all for joining us on algaeplanet.com. We will see you next time.